Hello everybody, welcome to Flosstube number 30. I am so excited to come to you today. I've been gone the last couple of weeks. I went to visit my son and his wife Haley in Virginia. They were living in Harrisonburg and ended up moving to Charlottesville. So it wasn't a huge move, but it was a new town, a new apartment, new start. So I went out and babysat my granddog. All my friends have grandbabies, and so they post pictures of their grandbabies and, oh, I'm going to be gone next week to babysit. And sometimes I get a little jealous because I'm like, I do not have grandbabies yet. I got a late start when I had my own children, and so I want them to enjoy their time just by themselves. I know my oldest got married a little over a year ago, and I want them to have that time that's just for the two of them. And my youngest is just dating a real sweet little girl, but is nowhere ready to get married, I don't think. And so it's going to be a little bit probably before I have real grandbabies. But I do have a grand dog that I truly care about. He is such a sweetie. And so they had just moved into their apartment. Haley got a new job at the UVA as a pharmacist, and Evan will still be commuting back to Harrisonburg. He's going to JMU. And so they've got a busy life. Well, they had a wedding to go to in Colorado, and my mom and I jumped at the chance to go out and babysit the grand dog. And we had a great time. We stayed over a few extra days after they got home just so we could spend some time with them too. And Harrisonburg is a beautiful town, but Charlottesville is absolutely gorgeous. I love the hills and the mountains. I get a little nervous when I have to drive over a mountain, but it was beautiful. And one of my dear friends, Mary Susan, only lives a little over an hour, maybe an hour and a half away. So that could be kind of dangerous. She came over and we went and did some antiquing and went to a couple of the historical sites because we're both history nerds, and just had the best time. And then we all got to go out to dinner one evening after Evan and Haley got back. So it was great. It was just a fun time, and I enjoyed that time that we were out there. But I'm glad to be home now, and I'm ready to show you what all I've been into. So grab a cup of coffee or a cup of hot tea, and or maybe as hot as it is outside in places, maybe a glass of ice cold lemonade or sweet tea. That would be my mom's favorite choice. So anyway, I have just tons to show you, so let me get started. The first thing that I want to show you is what I've been working on in a couple of finishes, because I knew we're going to have to be babysitting. I want to take plenty of stitching with me. And so I did get quite a bit of stitching finished. I had purchased this one sampler, maybe a month and a half ago, and just fell in love with it. I usually purchase a lot of my antique samplers from Richard Griesig because I just trust Richard. He is so knowledgeable. I know you guys have heard me talk about him before, but I know I don't have to worry if I purchase a sampler from him. So I've always been a little hesitant to buy online. But I was thumbing through eBay one day, and oh my goodness, the sampler was on there, and it just jumped out at me. It's like one of those things, when you see it, you know it. That was how it was with this sampler, so let me show it to you. And I love the colors. It's very simple, but I love the flowered border. I love pink, so that was great. And I just thought the verse was very simple, but very sweet. Honor thy parents, search the scriptures. And I immediately knew what I wanted to do. So this was not one that was up for auction. Those make me nervous because I'm always like, my friend Mary Susan told me how to do Auction Sniper, but I'm still nervous because I'm like, oh, I wonder if somebody outbid me. And so I'm always going in to check. And so bidding is very nerve-wracking to me. I enjoy it when they just say, this is how much I want. And if I decide that price is okay, then I just buy it outright. And that's how this one was. So I was thrilled. I didn't have to do an auction to get this because I wouldn't have to have tried. I loved it that much. But anyway, I knew when I got the sampler, as soon as it arrived, I had to chart it. And then this was what I took out to work on at Evan. So let me show you, and I'll show you what I did. I charted it as exact as I could. And normally I only use DMC. I don't, or a silk. I don't usually use variegated on my samplers. But with the original sampler, I'm going to hold it, and I'm not sure how the video will do. Let me put this one, the other one behind it, maybe it'll show it better. That little band in the middle looked variegated to me, and I like the way that that showed up. But when I turned it over on the back, it wasn't. It was a solid color. But I decided, I thought about it, and I decided that I wanted just a very faint variegation in it because I really liked the way that that looked. And so that's what I did. So I charted, the rest of it is as is. Whoop, sorry, I had it upside down. But at the bottom, if you'll notice, under her name, it's Sarah Ann Morris, and the date 1862, I put the initials EBH and LLT. And those are the initials of my mom and my dad. And I knew when I saw this on eBay and saw the sweet verse, that's what I wanted to do to this. So this will be released hopefully shortly. And you can add your initials. I just used the same initials that were up here, charted them out on a scratch piece of paper, and then added them in that space. So you'll have space on the original that if you want to add your parents' names or the names of someone dear to you, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just stitch it as is and it will be the same as the original sampler. And so I was so excited. This was a fun stitch. And I think it was just because I just love the colors in it and I love the verse. So that was something that I got to complete while I was grand dog sitting. Let me show you the next piece that I started. I've had this particular sampler around for quite some time, and I just wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. I really debated about stitching this all in one color, charting it as the stitches were in the original, but just using one single color. And I still think that would be pretty that way. But after I looked at it some more, I decided to go with a similar color palette that is in the original. So let me show you the original. It's a tall, skinny sampler, which I think is kind of cool. You don't see a whole lot that are that tall, skinny form. And it's very pale, just very neutral colors, just basic cross stitches. There's no specialty stitches in this. And then has some cute motifs at the bottom. Of course, grand dog sitting here. I've got 2 dogs at the bottom. That was appropriate. And what I did was turn it over. And I knew it was still going to be very light, even if it had faded. And sure enough, it was. This is the back. And as you can see, and I know it's so hard on these cameras, but it is a little darker than the front. And it was kind of peaches and pale greens, lots of creams and tans that were used. And so that's what I went with. So I got that charted and started. So I'll show you what I've got done so far. I've got about half of it, the bottom half finished. And it's just a sweet, sweet little sampler. I've stitched it on Hog Bristle is the name of it, from Fox and Rabbit. I love the Fox and Rabbit linen. I've been using that some lately and love this color. I thought since it was so pale and had the light tans and creams in it, hopefully this darker linen would make those pop. So I'm happy so far with how it's turning out. So that's a work in progress. Then I took another sampler that I'd had for a while, and I haven't started stitching on it yet. I'm gonna get this other one finished first, but I did get it charted. I just had it like a charting day one day. This little sampler is so sweet. It's Ruth Ann Boardman. She was 12 when she stitched this, which is pretty common with these antique samplers. And it was done in 1827. And I just was drawn to the colors in this one. Different things about each sampler kind of draw me to them. I loved all the pretty greens and creams and golds that were found in this particular sampler, but I also liked these flowers here at the bottom. Very symmetrical. She has that kind of makes me think of a daisy in the middle, and then she has a different one on either side. And I like things to be very balanced. I'm a little OCD, and so if something's off, it may drive me a little bit crazy. So I thought this Ruth Ann probably was a little OCD herself. So everything was very symmetrical and even and balanced, and that made me happy. So I have this one charted. I have my linen picked out, and I have my colors. So as soon as I finish this long, tall, skinny one, Hiscock, Rhoda Hiscock, then I had to look at the name again. Then I'll start on Ruth Ann Boardman. So I have been busy working on my reproduction samplers. And I'm doing that because I keep saying it's soon to be released. That's because in the past, when I have reproduced something, I've usually just put it on my Facebook page. And I love my Facebook page for interacting with other stitchers, and the ladies that are on there are such a sweet, positive, uplifting group. I know I've heard other friends say, oh, I just don't like to get on Facebook. It's too political. It's too, it's depressing. Sometimes people are on there fussing. And I have to say, I don't enjoy that either. So when I get on the Violets and Verses page, those ladies are one of the most positive, uplifting group of ladies I've been around, and gentlemen. I have a couple gentlemen on there. And so that makes it fun. So that page will absolutely stay active. And occasionally I may have a fabric sale, or I may have a board sale, or I may have a project bag sale. That will be occasionally. That's also the place where you'll see retreats advertised, and I have several in the works. I have the Shaker Sampler Sisters, it's a tongue tie, retreat coming up that I'm doing with Prim Peacock in October, November. We have just a couple spots left, but we are looking forward to stitching with those ladies that have signed up, learning more about shakers and their stitching. And so that's a lot of fun. That's coming up pretty soon, just a couple of months. I am in the works on having another retreat on Petit Jean, hopefully next spring. And on the Facebook page is where you'll find all the information out about that. I am also in the works and hope to be able to advertise it in September for a retreat in Scotland next May, be May of 23. And I am super excited about that. The people that I've been working with are super nice. They know it's a whole big group of stitchers that will be coming. And so they're planning things around our love of stitching and helping us to learn a little bit more about Scotland. So that's something to be watching for. But what I am currently working on is a website that I can post all of my reproduction samplers, and you'll have the option of purchasing them either as a PDF download or a hard copy. I know some people love the PDF download. It's instant. You say, hey, I love that. I want to stitch it, and I want to stitch it right now. Then the PDF download is super great. Then there are some people, I know my mom loves to have a hard copy in her hand. And so if you're one of those that likes the hard copy, then you have the option of ordering that as well. My goal is to have the website up and running no later than the end of September. Hopefully it will be much sooner, but I'm saying end of September because I don't want to overpromise and not deliver. So I will announce both on my Flosstube and on my Facebook page exactly when it is ready to go. But to start off with, I will have 10 reproduction samplers that I will have posted on that website for you to look at and see if there's any of them that you'd like to stitch and reproduce yourself. So that's exciting news coming up. I'm super excited because that's where my love of stitching really lies. I enjoy doing the project bags. I love doing retreats, so that's right up at the top of my list. But my favorite thing probably to stitch are samplers. And like you guys know, I am a history nerd, so I love researching and learning more about these young girls that stitched these samplers so many years ago. What was going on in the world during the time that they stitched? What was their family like? What what made them want to stitch, or maybe it was just mom saying, you better learn how to stitch if you want a job when you get older. It's just fun to imagine what these young girls were thinking as they were stitching. And so that's really a love of mine, is doing these reproduction samplers, and I want to make that a bigger focus for me in the future. So I'm looking forward to getting a website established and set up where it will make it much easier to show what I have as far as the samplers. So anyway, those were some of my works in progress and finished samplers. I do have one other final finish that I want to show you today. This is one that I've had done for a little while. I stitched a Scottish sampler, and I wanted a little something to sit next to it. And so this little pin keep was done, and I'm going to show it to you. And if you notice, it has 4 dates: 1833, 1841, 1965, and 2020. The top 2 dates, the first date is the year the young girl who stitched the Scottish sampler was born. The second date, 1841, was the year she did the sampler. And I decided I want to show my connection to this young girl and this sampler. So what I did, 1965, now you guys know how old I am, but you have to do a little math first. 1965 was the year I was born. And then 2020, that was the year that I did the reproduction on that particular Scottish sampler. And so I just have this in a little tier tray in my sewing room underneath the Scottish sampler. And so when I look at it, it makes me think of a connection that I have with this young stitcher. And this is something all of you could do. There are so many different alphabets. You could pick whatever alphabet you wanted. If you had a particular sampler you were wanting to have a connection with, you could look at the alphabet in that sampler and use those particular letters and numbers. And if you wanted to, you could add your initials next to it. I just chose to leave the dates and put a very simple border on either side to just give it a little added finish. I stuffed it. I then had this ruched ribbon that kind of went around the edge. I did have some assistance with that, but there's lots of different trims that you could add around the edge if you wanted something different. So it's very quick, very simple finish, but gives a connection to the sampler that I have it laying next to. So just an idea. I think there's a lot of you that are sampler lovers too, and enjoy thinking about the young stitcher while you're stitching the sampler. And this would be an extra quick little something that you could finish and put next to yours as well on display. So that's my other fully finished item today. Now I'm going to show you a whip that I've got to do this next week. So this is a fall piece, and I'm just kind of in the mood for cooler weather. I think we all are. And by stitching fall, I think it's going to get me in the mood for cooler weather coming hopefully pretty soon. I think this little guy is just adorable. It is on Pins and Pumpkins by Brenda. And now I am going to finish, I think it's an adorable finish with a little stem put in the top. It's made into a drum, but I'm going to finish mine just a little bit different. I'm going to have some wool that I do a standard drum, put the wool on the bottom and the top, and then I'm going to do a little pumpkin pin keep to attach to the top of mine. So that's my goal. When I finish it, I'll show you guys. I don't know if I'll get it finished before next Flosstube, but I'm gonna try. So anyway, that's my whip that I'm doing. That's not a sampler. Now I want to show you my haul. I hope you're sitting down because this may take a little bit. I've been gone. Mom and I had gone to Branson. I had talked to you about that during the last Flosstube. And of course, lots of shopping had to happen while we were up there. They have a great quilts and quilts shop that has beautiful fabric. They have Cecilia's, which has wonderful cross-stitch supplies. She's not a huge shop, but it is packed full of all kinds of patterns. So I got a lot of stuff there that I am going to show you. Then I went to Evan and Haley's and just explored Charlottesville. They have so much shopping up there, and I did a little damage while I was there as well. So let me show you what all I got. First of all, Cecilia's. I went a little crazy on purchasing patterns. So I'm going to show you some that I purchased. This one is Souvenirs of the Heart, Autumn, and this is by With Thy Needle and Thread, and I thought this was just a sweet, sweet little piece. Then I got this for Mom. She loves stitching little Bible verses. This one says, "The Lord bless you and keep you." It's Sweet Wing Studio. And I had never heard of them before, but isn't that a sweet little design? Mom's redone her room recently, and so she's thinking she's going to stitch that and make the colors all pinks and greens to go with her new room. Then this one is Be Ye Thankful. This is another Brenda Gervais. I love the colors. Just a cute little design as well. I got some fabric this last week that I think that will look great with for a project bag. This one is Blackbird Inn by Little House Needleworks. Autumn's Acorn Gathering. This is another Brenda Gervais. I must be on a Brenda Gervais kick because there were several of hers that I found and just loved. Then the Wee Santa 2021. For some reason, I did not have this one. This is a heart and hand. I think he looks kind of like a little Nordic Santa. Then Peppermint and Holly. Cute. I believe that's another Brenda Gervais. You guys ever do that? You kind of get to looking at patterns and before you realize it, you've got a whole bunch from one particular designer. I don't necessarily have a favorite designer. I like lots of different types of designs, but I find that sometimes when I go on a shopping spree, I have a tendency to get a whole bunch from one designer. This one is by Plum Street, so I kind of varied a little bit. This is Winter Salt Boxes. I think those are super sweet. This is Mr. Marshmallow. This is another Brenda Gervais. I'm following that pattern again. And I wouldn't have thought about putting him on that green, but he looks so cute, so I think I'm gonna have to try that too. This one is a Plum Street, Good Company. It's a nice fall looking piece. Fall is in the Air by Little House Needleworks. Super cute. These look like a project bag to me. Then this is a Christmas one. Friends are the best present of all. And this is by Amy Brecken Designs. I thought those were super sweet. Be a cute little gift if you have a friend you need to get some little something for. Then the Just Cross Stitch Halloween edition was out. Lots of neat little designs in there. Then, oh my goodness, I found this book. If you don't have it, you need to rush out and get it, especially if you love samplers. It's the Sampler Company's Ultimate Sampler Motif Source Book by Brenda Keys. And this entire book is filled with tons and tons of sampler motifs. It's just amazing. So like if you want, and also fonts in the back. So if you wanted to kind of make your own sampler up, maybe you have a grandbaby on the way or a granddog on the way, and you kind of wanted to do your own sampler, this would be a fantastic source book to use to do that with. I mean, it gives you the dimensions of each little motif and you could just go to town. So I was super excited to find this. I thought, how cute is that? Then this one is another Brenda Gervais. Oh my goodness. It's L. Genders 1875, so it's a reproduction, and I thought it was a sweet way that she did it. Just kind of, you can roll it up and tie it. This one is a Needlework Sampler by Brenda Gervais. Very sweet. This is Virtue is Bold by Summerhouse Stitchworks. I like that little saying. And I have a box that I'm not sure. I think it may fit on, so that was kind of my purpose for buying that one. This one is the Sampler Book by Erica Michaels, and I think this is so cool. The whole little book has little samples of stitching in it. I don't know when I'll get to that, but at some point I think that would be fun. And I think that's it. That was it for those things, but I did purchase one more thing from Cecilia, so I'm going to show you. Isn't this a cute little bag they put it in? Looks like cross stitch. They had up at the checkout, it's kind of like when you go to Walmart and you have little kids, they see all the candy right at the checkout. Well, they had the spinner rack with these adorable necklaces at the checkout at Cecilia's. And this particular necklace had a piece of a sampler in it. And I turned it around, I thought maybe it was just printed, you know, maybe they made a copy of a sampler and put it in there, but it really wasn't, because when you flipped it over, you can see the back of the stitching on that sampler. So they put a little piece of a sampler in and made a necklace out of it. And I thought, what a wonderful idea, but I had to have it. So that was kind of just for me, for fun purchase from Cecilia's. Now, let me show you the other things that I found while we were in Branson. Then I'll move to Charlottesville. This is bad. I told you guys, I hope you did get something to drink and you've got a comfy chair because I've got quite a bit. I love when we go to Branson to eat at Paula Deen's. It's just fun. Mom and I usually like to share a plate of something because we can never eat all that they have at restaurants usually, but Paula Deen's, you order it family style. If you've never been, you need to try it out. But it's just home cooked kind of food, plus they have a really cool gift shop in the front. So when we went to the front, after we checked out, they had this little tea towel. It says, "You are my sunshine," and it looks like cross stitch. So of course I had to have it. So that's actually going to be a giveaway today. You are my sunshine. Because I do appreciate you guys that comment and get on here. I do appreciate you kind of being my sunshine because I do enjoy reading off your comments. Then at Cecilia's, they had this little tote. It looks like could be a little tool bag that you could put notions and things in. So that's also going to be a giveaway today. Lay that over here. Then I think that was it on my Branson. I've got some fabric, but it's gonna be for a project bag. I just got some fall fabric and you guys will see that a little bit later. Now, when I went to Charlottesville, I went to an antique shop and then I hit some places around town. They have a Michael's. The first Michael's I've ever been in that is double decker. It's a 2-story. I couldn't believe it. My oldest son went with me after they got back and he's like, "Well, here's a Michael's, Mom, if you want to go in." I'm like, "Yes, you know I do." And so he even went in with me. He was kind of impressed. He's like, "I've never been in there. I can't believe they've got a lot of stuff." So he enjoyed Michael's as well. But they have their fall stuff. They're putting it all out. And I found this little wheelbarrow. I think it's adorable. It's not huge, but it would be a great size to put a couple of cute little smalls in, I think, for fall. So that's my plan for this wheelbarrow. Then I'll show you everything I found at Michael's so you can make a Michael's shopping list. They had these little scented brooms and it says on the back, pumpkin spice scented broom. So it smells like at Christmas they have the cinnamon brooms. For fall now they have these pumpkin spice scented ones. So I had to get 2 of these. So I'll have one of these later on. I'll show you what I put on it and I'll have it for giveaway at that time. But isn't that the cutest little broom? I can see just a cute little stitch something on there for fall. Plus it will smell good. Then they had this cute little wooden acorn. And my thinking is they have give thanks on there and it's cute just like that. But that's a nice size that you could stitch something and put on there. I'll have to look. When I do it, I'll show it on here again. But there is a pattern that has the little squirrels and I'm thinking that would look adorable on here. You could leave it as it is or you could paint it even. And it was only $9.99 and they mark their stuff on sale so quick, you could probably get it 40% off before you know it. That was also a Michael's purchase. Then they had, for finishing ideas, they had this little mini banner for fall and it's pumpkins and I think there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pumpkins. And they are cute little 3-dimensional pumpkins that you could take the cording out if you wanted and use it on a bow. You could leave it on the cord and make a little garland across the top of a picture if you wanted to. I just think it would be a cool thing to use as a finishing item. So that's another thing I got from Michael's. Then I found this in the little pick section. I think it was $3.99. Just says pumpkin patch, farm fresh. It has this wire, but that would be easy to just pull out of the back and attach this in a bow or on a picture frame, whatever you're using to finish an item. I think that's adorable. And then they had these little wooden pieces. Let me get, I think I got 3 of those. This one just says give thanks. Then there's a bat, says Eek, and a cute little ghost. So these would be adorable to use for finishing as well. So many different little ideas from them. I think that's it. Okay, the next thing, you guys are gonna laugh at me. I do not have a Wegmans grocery store here. We have Kroger, we have Harps, and we have Walmart. Those are our grocery store selections. And Target. Our Target has a little grocery section in it. That's what we have to pick from for grocery shopping. We got out there, and Evan, my oldest son, loves to cook. And so he had told me, he's like, Mom, they have so many really great grocery stores out here. He said, we have a Wegmans. And he was super excited that they had a Wegmans. I thought, great, it's bound to be good. I'm not sure what makes it great, but I'll have to check it out when we go out there. So Mom and I did. We made a trip one day to Wegmans, and oh my, it's probably a good thing we don't have a Wegmans here, because that place was dangerous. We were going to be out there for just several days by ourselves, and we had a grocery cart full. We left half of it, didn't even touch it, because we were going through there saying, oh my goodness, look at that. That looks so good, and popping in our buggy. Well, this is a little pot. I can't find my lid that tells what it is. I'll have it down below. Anyway, in like the pudding and jello section, they had these little pots, and it was like a caramel chocolate pudding. And this is ceramic, and it's reusable. You can use it, it says on the bottom, it is freezer safe and oven and microwave safe. So these could be reused later. But when I saw it, you guys know what I thought when I saw it. I thought this would be a great pincushion. And so Mom and I got two, one for each of us to have as a dessert one day. And I said, whatever you do, don't throw it away, save it. So I washed them out and brought them home with me. So I have two of these. And I just think it will make an adorable pincushion. So I have one of these I'm gonna give away today, and I have one that I'm gonna keep and put a pincushion in. So you guys will have to stay tuned and see what I do with it eventually. Then, let's see what else. The antique shop. I'll show you what I found at the antique shop out there. My grandmother, Leela Mae, who was kind of my inspiration for violets and verses, because she loved violets. She always had African violets in her kitchen window, and she always loved to stitch. She had this old-timey dresser, and as a little girl, I remember thinking, that dresser was so cool because it had her makeup. She had a jewelry box on it. And I love to go in there and look at all the things that she had on top of her dresser. And one thing that she always had was a box of Coty, C-O-T-Y, powder, face powder. And that's about all she used. She would just take that little powder puff and just powder her face. And to me, I thought she had the prettiest skin, and when she put that powder on, I thought that was just magic stuff. And so at this antique mall we went to, I found an antique or vintage Coty face powder box. But this one's a little different. The one I remember my grandmother having it was like orange and white and had some kind of little design on it. This one was a little different, but it had a sign that said it was a Coty face powder box. And as I looked at it, it has scenes from Paris all the way around it. And I thought that was so pretty. Yeah, it still kind of reminds me of my grandmother. So what I want to do is use it, find some kind of design. I have no idea what I'm going to use. I thought some pink roses would be pretty, or if I could find a pretty little French design. I'm not sure what I'm going to use, but I have this in my finishing pile of goodies that I want to put something on it someday, just to kind of make me think about my grandmother. So that was a treasure I found at the antique mall. Then I found this little pincushion. It's an old spool, and this is how they had it fixed up. They took some old lace and just wrapped around the spool part, used this mason jar lid and attached it to the top of the spool, and then made this little wool pincushion to go in the top. And I just thought that was kind of a sweet little pincushion idea. So if you've got old spools and old metal zinc lids, that may be an idea that you can use to make you a pincushion as well. Then I collect anything with violets, old china with violets. I have a curio cabinet upstairs, and in one of my earlier floss tubes, I kind of gave a tour of the china cabinet, and I have a curio cabinet rather, and I have added to that collection since that video, but I try and look for unique little pieces that have violets on them if I go antiquing or somewhere. And so here's two of my latest collection. I do have a beautiful stool. I have a friend, I have to tell on her, Rae, and we met up at market last year, and Rae said, I have something for you. I came in, she was beaming. She had this beautiful needlepoint violet stool she found at an antique shop. She is such a dear friend. She stuffed that in her carry-on and brought it on the plane. It amazes me. I still am amazed at how she got that in her carry-on. So every time I look at that little stool, Rae, if you're watching, I think about you, so thank you. But anyway, I found two more treasures to add to those violets. This was just a little creamer, and isn't that the sweetest little violets painted on there? So that's one. And then I found this vase that I thought was very sweet. Has a beautiful little violets painted on it as well. So those two are going to go in my curio cabinet. Then let's see, I have two more things from the antique mall. It was a great day. Sometimes you never know when you go antiquing. Sometimes you can have a haul, and sometimes it's just, well, that was okay, but I didn't find anything I couldn't live without. This was a cute little wooden box. The top comes off, and somebody had painted it and put the alphabet, and that made me think of samplers. I'm not sure yet. I may just leave it like it is and set it up in my sewing room somewhere. And then again, I thought it would be cute to stitch a little alphabet and mount on the front. So I'm still thinking about this one. I kind of hate to mess it up because whoever painted it did a good job on putting the alphabet on the front. Then the next item will definitely be a finish. I'll have to show you guys when I get it done. Look at this little copper cauldron. It's got the little legs. I'm not sure if you can kind of see it. I think they're adorable. Little top. And this makes me think, of course, of Halloween. And it's a nice size. So I think there's lots of different designs that could fit on the top of this. So that's kind of my goal. I want to find a Halloween pattern that would be fun to stitch and mount it on top of this little copper cauldron. So that was my last little treasure I found when I went antiquing in Charlottesville. Now I have a couple other things, but wait, there's more haul. I know you're excited. I went with my friend Mary Susan. I told you we're both history nerds. And so outside of Charlottesville is Thomas Jefferson's home, Monticello. So I had to go see it. I'd never seen it before. And sure enough, lots of times in these historical places, they'll have some type of a needlework piece. And so this was one that I got from Monticello, and it's just a picture of it's a little pinky, has a little alphabet around it. I thought it was really sweet. So I have this, and I bought two. I bought one for me, and I bought one to give away. And it has a piece of Ada, it has the backing, and it has the threads as well as a needle. So it's got everything you need to do it just as they show here. Of course, you can change the colors. You could change and make it linen instead of Ada if you prefer, but it is a complete kit. So this will also be a giveaway. You guys were so patient waiting on me to come back from all my travels that we have to have several giveaways today. Then we went that afternoon over to Highland, James and Elizabeth Monroe's Highland, and was able to see, and it's a completely different look. The home, they recently found out what they thought was the home was not. They found the foundation and it had burned, and so it was neat to learn that history. But they have lots of pieces that they have brought back. They have a lot of the area that was still in use. And one of the things that we found when we were going through the displays, there was a sampler. And I did post a picture of it on the Violets and Verses Facebook page. If you're interested, you can kind of go over and look. But it's the Maria Monroe sampler. This is an adaptation. The sampler is a little more involved than what this particular design is, but it's very similar. And so this was in recognition of the sampler that their daughter, actually, Maria, stitched. And so once again, this one is fully kitted. It's kitted with Ada. It's got the pattern, it's got all the thread. So you can always change that if you would like. So I bought 2 of these as well, one for me to keep and one to give away today. Then, let's see, I have one more pattern I want to share. Rae Niles has started Red Barn Samplers. And Rae, let me tell you, she has got a lot of samplers to reproduce. She has found some beautiful samplers, and she says it's not retirement, it's funtirement. So that's kind of what she is wanting to do now that she is not working full time. She is enjoying reproducing some samplers. So I ordered W. Wallace. It's available through the Attic in Phoenix. And you can go on their website and order it. It's W. Wallace, and it's just a beautiful sampler. But one of the things that I like that Rae has included with her hard copy, inside she tells the story about how she researched the young lady who actually stitched the sampler. And there's lots of information that she's included, and I just enjoyed it. Even if it didn't have a design, I enjoyed reading about W. Wallace, and I think you will too. So I encourage you, go into the Addict's website and order this. It's available from them. I think probably, she said maybe till the 1st of the year. So check it out. Also, please check out Rae's website. It is, I'm looking back here to make sure I tell you correctly, www.redbarnsamplers.com. So she's got some beautiful samplers I think you'd enjoy stitching. And I'll have all that information listed down below as well. So that was another purchase. Then I think I have fabric to show you, and that's it. I went a little crazy. I did stop at several fabric shops, but I found some beautiful fall fabric that will be put into use with some project bags, hopefully coming up soon. So I'll just show you a few of these very quickly as I kind of scroll through them. I love the green and the golds in this one. I thought that was very pretty. Then this is kind of simple, but looks very much like fall. I like just the black and the cream in this one. I have a little Quaker piece that I think I'm gonna stitch to go on that bag. And once again, this is pretty simple, but I like the black and the cream. Another pretty fall. I thought this was adorable with the strawberries, with the scissors and the needles and things. Was cute. I got a little extra of that one because I do use a lot of navy in my house, and I thought, oh, that'd be great. Make a couple pin cushions or something to go smalls for fall. I like the little berries in this one. And I thought this was beautiful. It has the barn with the little quilt block on the barn and the fall trees in the background. Mom and I had kind of a little game out of as we were traveling. We drove to Charlottesville, and it was quite a long way. And we tried to see how many barns we could find that had the quilt blocks on them, and that was fun. I know when I was little, we do the cars, see how many of the Volkswagen Beetle cars you could find on a road trip. We did quilt blocks on barns this time, so we changed the game up just a little. So there is lots and lots of pretty fall fabric out there. I told you a fib. I had one more thing from the antique shop, and this fabric, I had to get it because it had violets on it. My friend Mary Susan found it, and she's like, oh, you got to get this fabric. It's got ducks and violets. What's there not to like about that? I have no idea what I'm gonna do with it yet. Probably make a project bag out of it, but I thought it was so cute, I had to have it. So anyway, that's my haul. I've shown you some of what I'm working on, told you a little bit about what to be watching for in September. Hopefully I'll have my reproduction site up where you can go in and look at the samplers that I have reproduced and be able to purchase those to stitch for yourselves. I've also told you about some of the retreats coming up and shared a few things and new fall patterns with you. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm going to show you one more time before I let you go what the giveaways are for this week, and that way you can mention which one you like the best. So the first giveaway for this week will be this Maria Monroe sampler kit. That's giveaway number 1. Giveaway number 2 is the Monticello little pin keep. Giveaway 3 is this little jar that you could put a pin cushion in. And I did find at the bottom of my stack over here what that's called. So if you have a Wegmans, check this out. It's just called Pots. And it's salted caramel and chocolate pot de creme. So it's in a little box like this at your local Wegmans. So go check it out. My next giveaway, number 4, is this little tea towel, You Are My Sunshine. And then number 5 is this little Cecilia sampler notion bag. So that's number 5. And then number 6, so we have 6 giveaways, but I've been delayed a couple of weeks, so we needed several giveaways this week, is all of these little finishing items from Michael's. It's a little pumpkin patch and these 3 little hanging pieces as well. So that's the last giveaway. Now, I do want to announce the winners from last week. I had 3 gift cards that I gave away. The first gift card was to Stitcher's Garden, and that goes to Patricia Sonoff. And Patricia, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name, Sonoff. So congratulations, Patricia. The second gift card was Hobby Lobby. That goes to Sandy Walker. And the third gift card is to Michael's, and that goes to Linda Norris. So congratulations, ladies. If you will send me an email or a message on Facebook and let me know your mailing address, I'll get those gift cards out to you this next week. Thank you again for following along. We are super close to our next goal of 2,000, and I cannot wait to give away a couple gift certificates once we reach that next milestone. Thank you guys that have subscribed, and please share my channel. If you know someone that hasn't watched it yet, ask them to like and subscribe. Comment below. I love reading your comments, and I hope you guys have a super week. Try and get some stitching in and stay cool. I will talk to you soon. Bye.